I love collecting video games, both physically and digitally. I'll browse digital storefronts for hours looking for good deals and undiscovered gems. But there is one platform I've learned to avoid when looking for fun gaming experiences. The Nintendo eShop. Does this sound familiar? It's payday, and you've got some cash to spend. So you boot up your Switch or Switch 2 and head over to Nintendo's digital games marketplace. You check the recent releases feed and browse what's new. But instead of a bunch of exciting games to choose from, you find yourself wading through a toxic waste dump of awful releases that simultaneously confuse and anger you to the core. Where's all the good stuff? What is all this trash? Why is Nintendo letting this happen? Why? Why? Something is very wrong on Nintendo's eShop, and someone needs to get to the bottom of this. So, I figured I'd do it. I burned hundreds of dollars collecting every piece of gaming refuse I could find. All of this just to expose what the heck the eShop is churning out. Everybody gather round. We need to talk about Nintendo's eSlop. When I say eSlop, I'm not talking about a regular old bad game or an indie game that was lacking some polish that was made by a dedicated group of aspiring game developers. No. eSlop is something more. It's pretty much any game published in Nintendo's eShop with nefarious intent. When hunting for eSlop, you'll find quick asset store flips, artificially generated slurries of random awful visuals and confusing features, and clone games trying to rip off existing popular franchises or titles. All this is what we're on about today. There are no hidden gems here, folks. No diamonds in the rough. It's just garbage all the way down. That is eSlop.
Hey! Did someone say my name?
What are you?
I'm Mr. eSlop. I'm the omnipresent symbolic manifestation of the trash gumming up the eShop. Whee!
Oh, this is gonna get weird. eSlop is the sloppiest of slop. It is churned out quick and never created with any concern for whether the game is fun to play or barely able to function. Its sole purpose is to get you to pay money for nothing.
Hey, they don't got nothing, they got me.
If you've been watching for a while, you may remember that a while back we covered a Popeye game from the Switch eShop. That was eSlop, but it was only the tip of the iceberg, people, and the situation now is so much worse. Worse to the power of 1 billion. And Nintendo has done very little to reduce the amount of drivel we have to scroll through. This is Urban Showdown, a game available on the eShop that, if you're into fighting games, you could easily be persuaded to pick up. $2.49? Sure, I'll try out an indie brawler at a price that cheap, but wait a sec. These screenshots, are they from a different game? How did this suddenly turn into this? Hold up, the icon on the home menu is completely different from the thumbnail we saw in the eShop. And call me crazy, but I think they might have used generative artificial intelligence to make this. It's a stop sign. We see them everywhere. How did you mess that up? Looking back at the eShop cover art, I think I see some AI funkiness here too. The faces are all warped, and this guy only has 4 fingers, and this dude has 6. The heavy use of crappy AI-generated assets is a huge red flag when looking for eSlop, and we'll be seeing a lot more of it before we're done here.
9 out of 10 eSlop games are made with artificially generated images.
So this game doesn't look pretty, but does it at least work? No. Not really. We've got a major lack of color, featureless characters, bland pickups, and super janky gameplay issues. Even if you've beaten everyone up, you might just get stuck with an empty screen with nobody left to fight. But when people do show up, you might find them running on empty, with nowhere to go. No, my mistake. This doesn't look busted at all. This just looks perfect. Probably the only good feature of this game is a level select menu that unlocks stages as you play. But during our urban showdown, the game hard crashed and deleted all of our progress. So we're forced to revisit each and every monochrome location and complete them all over again.
Oh, that's just what everyone wants. Replayability.
This is feeling more like a beat-em-up template than an actual video game, which, after doing a little investigative work, surprise, surprise, is pretty much exactly what Urban Showdown is. Look, this whole game was purchased directly from the Unity Asset Store. It was barely repackaged, and then spat back out onto the eShop for unsuspecting gamers to buy. Folks, this is a pack you buy to build a game with. It's literally labeled as a template. It wasn't designed to be bought, flipped with no alterations, and sold for profit. But as far as I can tell, that is exactly what happened here.
Why make when you can take? That's an eSlop special!
Speaking of taking, this isn't the only store asset repack scam going on. Here's Summer Valley Hike, featuring barely changed work you can purchase on the Unity store. It's a basic walking simulator where you explore a digital setting, but you can't interact with absolutely anything. Just keep walking to your heart's content and explore everything this world has to offer. And here's Fantasy Grove, another walking sim made of stitched-together assets purchased on the Unity store. I spent a total of $9 on both of these games. I don't know. Do you think I wasted my money? But if you're not into beat-em-ups or walking simulators, don't you worry. The eShop has many flavors of slop to tempt you. Theft Ride, a game where you run fetch quests on a motorbike in a single small locale that doesn't feel properly built for the vehicle. Have fun getting lodged in every other asset, pal!
Just gotta get out of this. Just gotta move my... Oh, come on, not again. Come on, just a little bit. I'm even stuck here. I don't even understand this one. Okay, what?
Silent Mist, an otherworldly experience with glitchy wooden mannequins and a bunch of locked assets with little in the way of actual player guidance. Oh, and the camera gets permanently stuck at an angle the longer you play. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Wait.
I gotta get out of here.
Little Strays. You play as a cat with terrible jumping physics who runs fetch quests in a single small locale that... Hey, wait! This is just the same level assets from Theft Ride! Crystal Vale Dino Escape.
I think that dinosaur might be stuck.
Oh yeah, I like to swim above the water. Oh, now I'm going through mountains. Everything's just perfect.
Nope. Jet Combat Cats vs. Dogs Military Simulator?
Burn missiles away. These pups won't know what hit them.
Incoming furball at 6 o'clock. Evasive maneuvers.
For catnip and country.
And that was just the trailer. Jurassic Island, Little Dinosaur Park Musical Audiobook. Okay, clearly this is meant to trick little kids into handing over their precious gift card cash, which is pretty low. Scamming me? That's one thing. But scamming a kid? Shameful. Who do you think you are, Fortnite? And I mean, what is an audiobook doing on the eShop in the first place?
It's not a scam. It's a magical dinosaur journey to light up the imagination.
Well, we'll just see about that.
Dinosaurs, dinosaurs, come and dance with me. Big and small, wild and free. Brachiosaurus veloci.
Look at that font. Yup, they're doing their best to make you think this even has a shred of DNA in common with a certain Jurassic-themed park. And the game? It's just still images with a very loose narrative running over top of them.
Yes, and look what I found. It's an old paper.
Is it a drawing?
No, Emma, it's a map, a dinosaur map.
I don't think we're experiencing a single element formed by a human. It's like a microwave made this.
Hey, 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 I'm Dino Buddy. Come along, let's dance and play.
Oh, this music rates more than a server at Olive Garden. Our new little friend seems to be a talking dinosaur with a... Oh, hold on. There's something wrong with this image. He has a tail to the back left there, so what exactly is he packing between his stubby little legs here? You know what? Let's just be safe. Cover that up. That's the image I would have gone with as well. But these bad AI images are not nearly as awful as some of the script, which often seems to be penned by someone in the throes of oxygen deprivation.
I love your song.
And your leaves taste like cloud.
Your leaves taste like cloud? Great, cool. And believe it or not, this is so haphazardly slapped together that some of the actual AI generation prompts are accidentally embedded directly into the story.
The camera rises, showing high among the treetops the silhouette of the Brachiosaurus moving slowly.
What camera are you even talking about? There are musical interludes woven into this experience that don't just sound horrific, but leave us awfully confused by some of their messaging.
Trichetes plants, trichetes plants, green and fresh in the pants.
In the what?
In the pants!
Did we check the rating on this game?
This place makes me want to run.
But speaking of something fresh,
In the pants!
let's pivot to eSlop for I don't know, maybe a more mature player base?
Dirty pictures, right here on the official Nintendo eShop.
Yep, the eShop is alarmingly rife with saucy material. So much so, I need to blur the store page here to keep this safe for families. But yeah, it just goes and goes. I'd love to show the entire page of search results, but it takes literal minutes to scroll through. Minutes! If anyone thought Nintendo was still striving to maintain that fun for the whole family image, well, having an online storefront crammed with suggestive thumbnails kinda screams the opposite, don't you think? These games come out at a rate faster than any other genre of eSlop. On any given day, the recent releases feed will most likely have at least one of these adult games, and way too often the images are just AI slop. Goofed up faces, warped hands, some poor lady fused right through a solid table. IKEA, what have you done? And these images are locked behind the thinnest gameplay, usually very basic puzzles. The ones I tested out were slidey puzzles and jigsaws, and some of them were broken. I mean, I'm not against puzzles, but you can only do so many of these until you want to throw your Pro Controller right through the window. Look, I don't care if there's nudity in a video game, I really don't. But these games fill up the eShop listings, and even if you did like these kind of games, these ones just plain old suck. They're bad games with bad visuals, mass-produced with AI tools. They're not for anyone. And while we're on the topic, Nintendo, what's the deal with the lack of filtering content on the eShop? I do think it's a bit surprising that you, of all companies, don't have parental controls that can help hide this adult content from your littlest gamers. You can stop them from opening the software, but the thumbnails and trailers are still fully accessible. I mean, look at this! If there is a way to hide this from them, I couldn't find it. Nintendo's complete inability to curate their digital selling space has led to a rampant eSlop plague. And it's not only asset flips and AI slop and way too many adult games. It seems like any game with even a speck of popularity has some weird trash doppelganger on the service. Even games smaller in scope or from independent development teams are not safe. Dave the Diver is a pixelated gem with plenty of interesting gameplay based around hunting in the ocean and supplying a restaurant, and this game is available on the eShop. But you would be excused for confusing it with another eShop title, Diver Catch and Cook Simulator, a surface-level copy job that comes nowhere near the original's polished gameplay. Every time you touch a specific fish, you instantly die. Looking for that indie multiplayer game about climbing? Peak, was it? Well, as of the recording of this review, that isn't available on the eShop. But oh, here's Peak The Adventure Begins. A game with terrible movement animations, an uninspired world to waddle through, and absolutely no multiplayer. Was multiplayer important? They don't care. Squirrel with a Gun made a pretty big splash when its trailer popped off some time ago, showing its wild, trigger-happy rodent. That's now available on the eShop, but if you want a worse version, then pick up the eShop Squirrel Madness. You play on a single claustrophobic street and jankily shoot a handful of terrible-feeling, underpowered firearms at wave after wave after wave of enemies. One is a good game. The other is just nuts.
Oh, come on.
What? That was funny. Ever hear of a game about digging a hole? Well, the eShop didn't get that one right away. But no problem, because you could have got one of the following instead. I Am Busy Digging a Hole, Digging a Hole Simulator, Digging Simulator Gold Rush, Digging a Hole Gold Fever, Hole Digging Master, and Digging a Hole 2025. You see, it doesn't matter if it's a AAA experience or a scrappy indie project. Successful real games, whether they are officially on the eShop or not, are doomed to be mimicked with just the barest effort to fool potential buyers.
Oh yeah! Doors open, boys!
And heaven forbid a person has a taste for something like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Counter-Strike, or any other kind of modern combat-styled first-person game. Because, oh my good heavenly heck, you're in for a wild ride digging through all of this slop.
Special Strike, Shadow Rift Feral Strike, Strike Warfare Force Recon, Night Strike Resistance WW2, Call of Sniper Combat WW2, Call of Glory Critical Warfare, Battle Royal Battlegrounds Call, Emoji Battlefield Island Warfare. The World of War II, Front Lines of History, World at War Normandy, World at War Cobra, World War Prologue, World War Fury Wave, World War Battle of the Bulge, World War Combat Guardian, World War D-Day Part 1, World War D-Day Part 2. Critical Strike Shooter SWAT Rescue Missions, Critical Strike Modern SWAT Shooter Ops, Counterforce, Counter Shooter Strike Zone, Counter Crossline Crime War, Counter Delta The Bullet Rain, Counter Delta 2 Eastern Crisis, Counter Recon The First Mission, Counter Recon 2 The New War, Body Cam Shooter, Ops Cam Body Cam Shooter, Body Cam Shooter, Body Cam Shooter 2025. Exodus, Troopers, Team Troopers, Sniper Jarhead, FPS Bulletstorm, District Evolution, Great War Conflict, 0 Hour Kill Zone, Escape from Tarkan, Combat Ops Arena, Battle Evolution, Urban Warfare Assault, Operation Scorpion Takedown, Military Combat Shooter Desert USA Army Soldier Simulator, the Ghost X Sniper Simulator, parentheses, Tactical Shooting and Eliminator, Tormentor Action Fire Counter Shooter Game 2023 Gunstrike Simulator, Counter Bottle Shooter Pro Aim Master Target Bottle Shoot 3D Game Strike Pistol, Counter Buddy Hop Strike Go Simulator Extreme Deluxe 3D Shooter, World War Battle Heroes Field Armies Call of Prison Duty Simulator.
Too much slop! After a while, my brain just refused to accept that I was looking at different titles. Here is the thumbnail for Battle Force. Here is the thumbnail for Combat Forces. And here is the top image for Modern Attack. Each one masterfully rendered with AI tools, providing images so identical that I can't separate them from one another. And if you're thinking, well, these titles must at least look different in-game, right? Well, here, these are 3 screenshots directly from the store pages for each. Can you tell the difference? Because I know I can't. Oh look, here's some more. Combat Strike, Bullet Strike, Combat Zone, Special Combat, Special Warfare, an endless flood of lookalikes.
The best part about being me is that there are just so many of me.
But don't for a minute think any of these eSlop games are worth your money. From tiny, poorly designed levels to horrifically confused computer-controlled opponents and gunplay that makes a super soaker seem threatening. These titles are sad imitations of the real deal games. Instant deaths, horrible graphics, completely unfinished, and in many ways, totally unplayable. And you know what really burns my Pop-Tarts? That us gamers aren't the only ones exploited by this infestation. Nintendo's lack of attention in the eShop is hurting hard-working development teams too. Their games, their livelihood, is being dogpiled by eSlop. Imagine you spend years working on a project only to see it launch and vanish from the top of the recent release section in a flash. The trash we just saw pushing it from your potential audience's view. And we all know the longer someone has to scroll and scrutinize to find your legitimate game, the less likely they are to engage with the store page and buy it. And this slop spreads and taints surrounding games. There are genuine indie games that on first glance are indistinguishable from slop. I found this game, Leftovers KO. My first thought was, well, of course this is slop, a game fighting poorly animated foodstuffs? But no, I was wrong. It's an actual game, a lost in the mix title. The devs' hard work and crazy high quality animations completely missed by virtually everyone. How unfair is that? In that unending list of war shooter game titles we read off, there's a chance one of those was a real game made by a dedicated real-deal video game developer. But how could we know? It's impossible to separate one from the other. Some of these ultra-seedy slop publishers have game lists dozens of titles long that seem to release with a frequency that the average human blinks. With output like this, there is no way any of it is actual quality work. And it seems that even after a developer releases a game, they can re-release it again in a super cheap scam-filled bundle of games that pop it right back up to the top. Or, if not that, they can repackage the same game as a new exclusive edition. Check out this title called Cynthia Hidden in the Moonshadow. At one point, you could have bought
the Deluxe Edition, the Premium Edition, the Platinum Edition, the Silver Edition, the Gold Edition, the Diamond Edition, the Epic Edition, the Complete Edition, the Ultimate Edition, the Special Edition, the Extended Edition, the Elite Edition, the Anniversary Edition, the Summer Edition, the Xmas Edition, the Sweet Edition. Sweet Edition? What could that possibly mean?
They'll pull these down, re-upload, and generate completely new edition names all the time. They'll even give big discounts on the prices to fool you into thinking you're getting a deal. You're never getting a deal. All of this just overstuffs the eShop, and it's just everywhere.
Ugh. Excuse me, just adding my load to the load.
Gee, thanks, little guy. I hate it. You know what makes this whole thing hurt the most? I've been a huge fan of Nintendo hardware, software, and even some of its online offerings for many, many years. I'm a day one Wii U owner for crying out loud. The company and their umbrella of creatives is incredibly talented, and there is no other organization that does what they do in the medium of gaming. Period. And it's not like Nintendo's slop problem is totally unique. There's problematic releases on every platform. Steam, Xbox, PlayStation Network all have games waiting to grift you, making use of all the sleazy tactics and elements we've gone over today. Heck, some of the very same software we looked at today is on those other platforms too. The reason I seem so hyper-focused on the eShop right now? Well, almost every other platform has something that Nintendo's eShop is sorely lacking. Something that can be summed up in a single word. Feedback. Nintendo's online buying ecosystem doesn't provide gamers any way to give feedback on the games they purchase. Feedback that fellow shoppers can use to make their own purchasing decisions. Star-based rating systems, posting reviews, like to dislike ratios, none of these exist on the eShop. No official way to warn a consumer that they're about to buy a scammy piece of slop. But it's even worse when you consider this. Nintendo very clearly indicates that they do not accept refunds for digital purchases. So don't expect your money back if you've been fooled into purchasing a sloppy product. Believe me, I know. I bought all this with real money. And folks, I ain't a happy consumer right now.
Our games are like a rancid skid mark that won't wash away. Ain't it great?
No, it really isn't. Sony, Microsoft, Steam, GOG, heck, even the Epic Game Store have some mix of systems to help customers. They may do things differently from one another. They may not always be the most effective help, but even if they offer just one form of aid to the customer, it's still leagues ahead of what Nintendo is doing on the eShop, which is nothing. By default, the store with the worst customer support for purchases is better than Nintendo. That's sad. We've seen a slew of slop ripping off their titles and designs from other games, but now we need to talk about something a little different. We need to talk about Lotzo. This is Lotzo and the Ray of Light. On first impression, this is 100% trying to aim for the original Spyro gameplay made famous on the PlayStation 1. Just, you know, a bat instead of a little purple dragon. Unlike a lot of what I've shown you today, this doesn't really seem, to me at least, to be AI-generated slop. Some time and effort clearly went into these levels and designs, but even then, there are lots of visual glitches and errors all over the place. Like, we have pupils that go above the eyeball and straight through the eyelids. Did no one notice this? And around here, there is... Wait, what? What just happened? Did I just get stuck in a tree trunk? Okay, there doesn't seem to be any way out of this. Guess I'll have to restart. Anyway, looking around these levels, you can clearly see a... What? Again? I'm now stuck in a freaking rock? How did that even... All right, restart one more time. Let's not even go to that level again. Out here in the main hub world, you can see... No. It didn't just happen again! You absolutely kidding me with this? Getting stuck in geometry once that forces a restart is bad, but 3 times in one sitting back to back? What is going on? So clearly, Lotzo is not Lotso fun to play. But there's more going on here than just a broken attempt to make a Spyro game, because this character first appeared in a different game under a different name. This is Zera, Myths Awaken by Rerez, which began its life as a new Spyro fan game, but became a new title with original characters and assets totally separate from Spyro. Look familiar at all? Zera plays 100 times better than Lotso, and I had a lot of fun going through it. Zera is not a full game. It's a game demo. The original developer wasn't able to finish it, so they made what they did have available for people to try through itch.io. And can you guess what happened next? If not, maybe this side-by-side will help it make sense. Lotso is just Zera, but with a different color and some minor changes. Oh, and broken gameplay. This looks like someone took the Zera demo and sloppily manipulated it and uploaded it as their own work for a profit. But I thought I had to be wrong. There is no way someone was so brazen as to outright steal a whole game demo, make the most minute adjustments, and then put it up for sale. That would be nuts, right? And if they were criminal enough to try that, there is no way Nintendo would let it slide, right? So, I reached out and spoke to the developer of Zera. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. Spacefarer Games, the so-called developer of Lotso on the eShop, reused and barely reconfigured somebody else's work to make a quick buck. They probably thought that nobody would notice. Well, I did.
What do you mean? Of course this is a totally different game. The little bat's purple now. See? I'm also purple now. Brand new character.
No, that's stupid. You're just the same Mr. eSlop too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to someone? I just got here. A completely new character.
This guy's a moron. The original game developer of Zera was so confused by this that they also bought the game. I mean, they had to see if someone actually stole their stuff. And what they found inside was basically just their original game demo. This goes way beyond slop. This is just thievery. And if all Spacefarer did was steal, that'd be bad enough. But Spacefarer decided to add things, weird things. They took what was a very solid playing game demo and broke it. Why would you do this? Did you think that molding some of your own assets' work into someone else's demo would make it more transformative and not really stealing per se? I mean, seriously, how do you think Nintendo or the Pokemon Company would treat this situation if someone tried to infringe even slightly on the rights of their games? Oh, wait. Lotzo is Zera, but with everything worse. The controls, the visuals, the sound, it's all worse. Them nipple eyes, they are not in the original game.
Curious. I was not aware we were to be expecting guests. The timing of this can't possibly be a coincidence, however.
And this bizarre AI-generated voiceover that clearly doesn't fit the game at all, also added in Lotzo. They've introduced more gameplay, but none of it is good. Here, I'm highlighting what was in the original game in the hub world. And all of this is the new stuff that Spacefarer stuffed in. These are the places where I got stuck in the game world. Remember that from the beginning? Well, now it makes sense. They've added a boss battle that just instantly breaks and then that's it. Nothing happens. You can't beat it. You are forced to reset and go back to the hub world. So much is busted in this version of the game that it is impossible to list it all. But let's give it a shot anyway. Try to go swimming and your character will just kinda run right through the waterline and act like they're not actually underwater. When the camera pulls back to reveal they are underwater, the character model breaks the waterline effect and it looks like it is floating on top of the water when they are not. Using specifically placed jumping sections, you're catapulted to a new area of the map, only to be jettisoned directly through physical geometry and find yourself way deep underwater, surrounded by a level I assume you're supposed to be swimming in to reach important things. But you can't swim because it's broken. Stairs don't work. I mean, stairs really don't work. You will wrestle with trying to get up this flight here for minutes on end. It doesn't matter how high you get because every step is made from everlasting butter. You'll get pushed off again and again without fail. Are these the worst stairs in any video game I've ever played to date? Yes. Yes, they are. A bridge made of a broken texture that resembles some anomalous morphing skin-like visual effect. This level is not in the original game, so they broke this all on their own. Also, any other bridge you're likely to find may or may not be properly connected to something, giving you false hope of crossing any gaps with confidence. How could we not talk about the final level? A completely empty void of nothingness with some kind of bizarre floating character who you can neither talk to or interact with. Why would you even bother to add any of this at all? The original game might have been shorter since it was a demo, but it worked. Spacefarer just added broken bulk and turned a completely functional game utterly and totally unfunctional. This kind of incompetence is unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire time playing video games. Nobody has been this bad before. Nobody. Now, before this video went up for all of you to see, Lotzo and the Ray of Light was mysteriously delisted from the eShop, but it was up for over a week. Whether it was Nintendo or Spacefarer voluntarily taking the game down to avoid further scrutiny, I don't know. But what I do know is the developer of the original Zera Awaken demo was not contacted by anyone at Nintendo. nor did the thievish scam developer apologize to them for their actions. And they certainly didn't get paid for their work being 100% stolen. And I, as a paying consumer, did not receive a refund for having purchased this scam. No matter how you look at this situation, it's real bad. Nintendo either didn't act fast enough, or they did act and pocketed the money. Or the thief got away with thieving and stole the money from consumers who didn't know any better. I've tried to offset the effect of having purchased the game by offering double what I paid for it directly to the Patreon page for the maker of Zera Miss Awaken. But that's not enough. Nintendo ought to do right and put all of that coin in the original creators' pockets. Or maybe just refund anyone who fell for the scam in the first place. 'Cause I'd like my money back. I started to wonder, just how the heck did Spacefarer get approved to be on the eShop in the first place? Isn't there some kind of verification procedure or something? I did the smallest amount of research on these folks and looked up their website. And boy, did I see some major red flags. They make a lot of fan remake games inspired by popular titles. That much is very clear. They might call that Mansion of the Macabre, but I'd call that Alone in the Dark. They even have the same surprise monster encounter that crashes through the window. Ooh, that was spooky. Maybe. And as for this Jacob's Quest game, it's just Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, but with all the Final Fantasy intellectual property removed. A closer look at all the files on the Steam release showed me that they didn't scrub it out as good as they might have thought. I'm pretty sure that's a Chocobo, a Moogle, and that's totally a Cactar. Might want to remove those in the future. The bigger issue was under the Retro Remaster section of the website. You'll find a landing page for some future Banjo-Kazooie remake, along with several other games from a variety of publishers and developers. And call me crazy, but I'm highly suspicious that any of these IP owners would be on board with these projects. And check this out. This page here is a link to a free downloadable PC port of Castlevania 64. That's right, folks. You can just download a whole Konami game right from here and start playing. You don't even have to own the original game. I'm not really sure how Konami feels about this. I think it's safe to say that I really don't trust Spacefarer that much, especially after that whole Lotzo thing. By the way, a last-minute update on that. Just when I thought I was done with Spacefarer, they updated their website. It looks like Lotzo isn't gone for good. Now it's going to be Nocto and the Ray of Light, and it looks like an owl dragon instead of a bat. The Nintendo eShop buy link goes to a dead page, at least for now. But don't be surprised if a familiar scam reappears in the future. I have high doubts that any of this is legal or properly licensed. But that's not the point. What I'm focused on more right now is that Nintendo has not been doing the work of validating everyone releasing games on their eShop. And this proves it. The fact that Lotzo could even exist on the eShop at all calls into question every single piece of software uploaded for sale on Nintendo storefront. I stumbled into one demo that was ripped, barely retouched, and put up for sale. What other stolen material is still hiding all over the eShop? We've had a pretty broad look at an eclectic mix of eSlop served from Nintendo's official online outlet. And no matter the game, the genre, or the execution, I cannot recommend you dabble with a single one of these trash experiences. We've seen egregious copycat work, AI drivel, sexually suggestive bait, and a whole lot of bad. Surely someone out there is thinking, well, at least there isn't a game on the eShop that commits all of these sins in one foul swoop, right? Anime Girls, Fantasy Desire. The title reads like a set of keywords you want to scrub from your search history.
Long ago, the world of Erindor was a place of balance. The maiden knights, guardians of this balance, stood as beacons of hope.
If you were wondering whether or not this opening cutscene utilizes AI, let's let this gal's face answer that question. Yeah, every little bit of this intro footage is 100% generated slop. I mean, look at these blurry birds phasing in and out of the sky here. This is AI video generation struggling. Still don't believe me?
Haha, you're still treating me like a child, sister.
Until you can land a hit on me, you'll always be my little sister.
Yuki, something's wrong. The air. It's like all the light is being drained away.
Get inside the shrine. Now!
This is primo AI runoff. It's sloptastic. The line delivery is like a speak and spell, dialogue that feels like it was written by a 4th grader. And these character designs, did you see those facial animations? Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. With the bar set this low, what could gameplay possibly be like? I think they've done it. They've managed to make the ugliest game I've ever seen.
Sister, don't let the darkness take you. Promise me.
No!
Such raw power.
Look at this place. A world that looks like its textures are perpetually loading in, but they never do. Everything is built from sloppy low-res chili cheese dog stains. And it runs. It runs like a lopsided turtle. How does this exist? How are we able to exchange currency, which could sustain a human being with clean water and nourishing food, for something that looks and runs like this? There's poppin'. There's always poppin'. There's never no poppin'. Oh, that's how it is, huh? We're just gonna break mere feet from where we spawn? Batten down the hatches, folks. There be some rough seas ahead. Firing Anime Girl's Fantasy Desire back up on
refiring
Anime Girl's Fantasy Desire back up and getting to our first enemy, the controls and lock-on mechanics tell me that this game is likely aiming to be a Dark Souls style experience, except where those games have ruthless enemies that attack you and kill you without hesitation, our game has this guy. Prepare to die? No, my friend. Prepare to cry. Because you cannot take 10 steps in this place without stumbling into something totally busted. It is really incredibly sad. And if you stand in the wrong spot in this level, this happens. Two different music tracks are battling each other for dominance. How is this real? How is this something I paid to play? Do yourself a favor and don't try to stray too far away from any obvious path in this game, unless you want to drop out of level geometry, completely unable to hop back in. That's another restart. Some of the bosses in this game seem like hulking, intimidating figures. But on closer inspection are all kinds of broke. Check out this big demon guy whose walk cycle appears to be stuttering. Oh my. Here he seems to be having a pretty embarrassing struggle trying to get up these stairs.
Dark doom awaits. But pretty soon, I shall unleash all of my fury. Once I can get my feetsies to respond to my commands.
And if that guy wasn't bad enough, we've got another lackluster boss encounter shortly thereafter where we defeat our foe and his head does whatever the heck is happening here. It's stretched to the ground like taffy or something. Level to level, there is endless jank all over the place. Open staircases we can't walk up. Character textures that refuse to load. And so many janky boss encounters. I can't tell you what in this game actually works, because none of it does. We finally make it to the end boss, but before we can do battle with them, we have to fight through a glitchy army of his bony minions. And they all look just as bad as the first time we saw them. But eventually, Mr. Big Bad Boss Man struts his stuff down the stairs to take you out. How did they expect to make a final boss menacing with his jittery, gotta find a bathroom now walk cycle? But, wait a second. If Jittery McBossyBoss is down here, who is up there sitting on the throne? Okay, let's go up there and see what is going on. Wait, he's down the stairs right now and also up here? Doesn't seem like he wants to play though. I'll go back down and see how old Jittery Pants is doing. We clash. We swing swords. We freeze in place. Did he just have a change of heart? What is even happening anymore? Well, whatever. I guess I'll take it as a gift that the game is handing me the final boss on a silver platter. Take that! And that! And... What? Did the game just hard crash to a black screen? Okay, hard restart. Let's do that whole level over again from the beginning. Here we go. A few more hits and... Oh, so the game just doesn't have an ending, huh? They didn't expect anyone to actually get this far? I tried running up the throne before battling any of the minions just to see if that changed anything, but nope, still inanimate. And apparently, me doing this triggered the game to duplicate the boss down behind the throne on the floor, ready to fight early. Let's just go with the jank and do battle. Just like before, he locks up. Just like before, I take him out. Only this time, nothing. Nothing happens. Not even a black screen. Just nothing. Like the game doesn't know it's over. I tried to explore a bit more to see if there was something I was missing, and I accidentally fell off the level and descended for eternity.
Endings? Why would you want to stop playing any of these masterpieces? A game that never ends is a game you play forever.
Folks, that's it. The end of the game. Well, the game doesn't really have an ending, does it? But this is the best we can find. The game encompasses so many terrible ideas while also being seemingly completely constructed from AI slop combined with zero ambition, hopes, or dreams. It has no interesting story, no functional graphics, terrible gameplay, awful combat, and an entire game engine seemingly glued together with popsicle sticks and discarded Snickers bar wrappers. And that's an insult to Snickers bar wrappers. Those things are really well designed. I am disgusted by the caliber of entertainment that you can find on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 platforms. Turns out you're never more than a couple button presses away from trading dollars for disappointment. It's an embarrassing problem. Nintendo should know better. It's not like they didn't provide better quality online services in the past. Back when the eShop channel and Virtual Console were in their heyday, they had better curation and quality transparency for potential customers. I mean, the eShop on the freaking Wii U offered customer feedback on titles in the form of a star-based rating system and basic player appeal graphics. With the advent of the eShop on the Switch, though, Nintendo decided that silencing any form of critique on their storefront was the best way to go, and it simply isn't. Especially with a modern eShop where curation has become basically non-existent. Nintendo is a smart company. Nintendo is a big company, but Nintendo has been asleep at the wheel on this eSlop problem for so long that it's unpardonable. Hopefully, we've provided a clear presentation of these problems for Nintendo to mull over. Because as it stands now, Nintendo is host to easily the worst games they've ever had on any of their platforms. Nothing is even remotely as bad as this. Nothing at all. And with any luck, nobody will ever have to surf the 7 seas of slop the way we had to today.
What changed? Everything looks great to us.
Nintendo, clean up your storefront, or I'll have to keep exposing all the slop you allow on there. And please hurry, because I really don't want to keep playing these games.
Pirate anime quest. One boy's journey. A piece of island love.
Not all the glitters is gold, but I sure shine, don't I?
Pirates whisper that when two eyes meet like this, there's no escaping the storm.
Ready for the boarding?
Would you let me check your booty?